The new India is at the cusp of a transformation. We are a young nation with drive, energy, passion. But there are some fundamental challenges that still plague the Indian society.
Whatever we do doesn't seem enough. There are problems with education, there's so much poverty, there's problem with agriculture, productivity, accessible health care, you name it, it is there.
Every generation needs creative change makers who can take on these challenges, come up with solutions, and lead the community into positive transformation.
Via the fellowship, we aim to create young bright minds who are self-aware, purposive, and passionate with the service attitude.
What we really need at the core of everything is this Seva Bhav. Again, like Swamiji said, it's the 3H formula. You need a head to think, hands to work, but what is more important is the heart to feel.
Seva Fellowship from Seva International and Youth for Seva is one such catalytic initiative where we want to identify highly capable young people who have the sharp intellect, who are active and have the reflective mind to comprehend the situation and come up with creative solutions.
The fellowship is a deep reflection on India's needs of the future and our preparedness for the same.
And if you want to be the change maker, this is the platform for you.
If building a nation from the grassroots attracts you, join us. We are looking for you.
Let's be a player and not a spectator on this journey. Vande Mataram.
Over to you, Abhishek ji.
You can hear me, Ashwin? Yeah. Namaste. It's a pleasure to welcome. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you in today's Sewa Samwaad. It's our honor to have His Holiness Gaurang Das Ji Prabhu with us. Prabhu Ji is a monk who is also a technocrat, an engineer from IIT, who has inspired generations, who is inspiring people across the world and also involved in Seva activities. On behalf of Seva International, we are serving and we are collaborating in various activities. And one of the live example of what Prabhu Ji and his foundation has been doing is Govardhan Ecovillage, where you can see and explore various models of societal transformation and change that are being envisioned. It includes a multi-sectoral skill development center to something into primary healthcare through technology, through telemedication, training of youth, children, and we all know about the milestone program of Akshaya Patra. At Seva International, we strive to serve humanity in distress. Our programs, including the small video that we just saw for Seva Fellowship, along with grassroots development, the overall human development, the whole purpose of Vyakti Nirman, and then how people could bring change in the society. So we create people who create models, who create future of Bharat as well as Vashudha, what we call Vashudhaiva Kutumbakam. So without further ado, it's again an honor to have you, Prabhuji, here with us. And it would be a pleasure to listen to you and to have your Upadesh for us. Namaskar. Pranam.
Namaskar. Thank you very much, Abhishek ji. Priyanka ji, you can allow me to share my screen.
Ji, Prabhuji, exactly.
Yes. Thank you. So thank you very much, Abhishek ji, and we are very, very honored to be here with all of you. And I'm going to be speaking on Govardhan Ecovillage and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. As all of you are aware, as you are quite active in trying to transform India's overall social landscape, India has a population of almost 1.3 billion, and 800 million or 80 crores out of that are based out of villages, and almost 50 crores are in cities. But the worrying thing is the growing disconnect between cities and villages. So ISKCON, as you know, is part of the Gaudiya Sampradaya with its spiritual ethos established in 1966 in New York. And the reason it began from New York was because people in India were not taking things seriously. So Swami Prabhupada went to New York and then came back to India. And now we have 700 temples all over the world and distribute 3 million meals of food every day in schools across India. But primarily we are based in cities even today. So ISKCON also took a strategic change in its direction and decided that now we would go to every town and village and every district in India. And we created a model on how we can do that is by having a combination of fulfillment of needs of those in the city and marrying that with the needs of those in the village. So we thought people in the city are looking for peace, people in the village are looking for paisa, how we can connect both. So we created a model over 100 acres of what is going to be a spiritual wellness center, a destination where people from the city can come and de-stress themselves through what is known as Hinduism as a way of life, W for wisdom, A for Ayurveda, and Y for yoga. And then they experience transformation. Then they also want to support the village. And they reach out to those in the village. And when they reach out to those in the village, they do through various initiatives. And we have created impact in more than 75 villages by doing this rural development program. And then in the course of the last 14 years, we have tried to follow all the initiatives which have been recommended by United Nations with respect to sustainability and the Sustainable Development Goals as a benchmark for two areas, which is sustainability and social impact. So the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals provides a very good framework for calibrating your initiatives in the direction of sustainability and social impact. And ISKCON is already quite proficient in establishing its own benchmarks on the first S, which is spirituality. So the three foundational principles on which this eco-village is created is spirituality, sustainability, and social impact. So the eco-village itself is a 100-acre spiritual resort, which is a 162 key property, and it provides facilities for people to come and stay, just like any other guest house, but also to experience not only Ayurveda and yoga, but also 10 acres of landscape Vrindavan forest, where people of today want to experience 5-star comfort while visiting even a holy place. And many people avoid visiting a holy place just because the facilities are not good. So we have provided that comfort also. So the idea is only when you provide city-like comfort, people from the city would want to come towards the village. When they come and stay in the city comfort in a village, then they get the guts and the inspiration to look around the village and see the reality of a real Indian village. And then they get the inspiration to do something. So they come up with ideas, they come up with technology, they come up with contacts, they come up with CSR initiatives, they come up with capital, they come up with so many things which helps catalyzes the development of rural India. So in 2017, United Nations World Tourism Organization gave award the UNWTO award to India in the NGO category, and that was received by the Govardhan Ecovillage on behalf of India. And it was known as ecotourism as a catalyst for rural development. So rural development will happen anyway. But if there is a place like this where people from the city and across the world can come and experience the transformation, then you can actually, catalyze this. And therefore, the mission of GEV, as described here on the screen, is alternative sustainable model, simple living, high thinking, harmony with the self, divine nature and humanity, powerfully optimized action models, and sustainability technological intervention. So, any intervention in rural India needs these 3 S: spirituality, sustainability, and social impact. If you do only one, there are such kind of prevalent habits amongst rural folk in India, especially with respect to addictions and other things, that even if there is some economic progress, but practically all of the economic benefits are consumed by the addicting habits. So therefore, they need to change their habits, they need to change character. And then if only social impact and spiritual impact is done, but people do not, utilize toilets, they do not use the proper hygienic conditions, and they do all kinds of, stupid things with respect to water and waste. So the whole ecosystem is destroyed. So you need sustainability also. So if there is spirituality, sustainability, and social impact, these are the 3 S. We call it the S3 impact. S3 impact: spirituality, sustainability, and social impact. So let me take you through the 17 SDGs which we have tried to implement. First, no poverty. As you know, ISKCON's core expertise is in spirituality, in teaching, studying Gita and Shastras. So we are not expert in rural development. But the model which we chose was, we may be expert in one thing, but we can always collaborate with different people in different ways who are already expert in those areas. And through that collaboration model, we will be able to expedite our progress. So 2 things for which we don't collaborate is spirituality and food distribution. These 2 things are our core in-house expertise. But for other things, we have reached out to other NGOs, other experts, and learned from them. So as far as rural development, as you see on the screen, is farmers training with respect to organic farming, how to use cow dung and cow urine to make insecticides and pesticides, to grow your own, to have your own in-house insecticides and pesticides. Train them in Wadi. So Wadi program basically is a multi-cropping system where there is long-term, short-term, medium-term, various opportunities for the farmer. Short-term income, the farmer gets through agriculture, like rice plantations and others. Then medium-term, he gets through floriculture, through growing flowers. And long-term income he gets through horticulture, by growing fruit trees. So Sahajivan Wadi program, we have trained more than 2,000 farmers near our Ecovillage. And one of the biggest challenges is to get them together. And many times to get them together, we have used Govardhan Annakshetra as food distribution, where once or twice in a week, when we announce that there will be a training session ending with food distribution, then people come together. They are willing to listen to an alternative method of farming beyond NPK farming. And so, during the COVID also, there was severe farmer distress. And we are very grateful to Ashwini ji and Arun ji and Sewa team who supported this program. And we could continue our training efforts all through the COVID also, so that the farmers could continue with whatever capacity they have to continue their organic farming. So this is a very, very big need, and as a lot of movements are going on currently to help save the soil and protect the environment, to go to organic and to save our indigenous seeds is a very, very important need. So as a result of this, you will be shocked to know that, Palghar is a district which has been in news for all the wrong reasons last year. And communists, Naxalites, and Christian conversions are very highly rampant in this district. And some of the, initial recruitment for Chhattisgarh and for Jharkhand, Bihar, and in Northeast, it happens in some of the mountainous areas of Palghar, especially in Mokhada and Jawar. So one of the biggest challenges we have faced is to connect with the farmers and teach them all of these things and make them take this seriously. And as a result, we have seen that Palghar district, with a population of 30 lakhs, 8 talukas consisting of Wada, Vikramgarh, Jawar, Mokhada, Danu, Talasari, Palghar, Vasai Virar. All of these talukas, the average income per household of 30 lakh population in a district which is neighboring the financial capital Mumbai, the per household average income is 27,000 rupees per annum. Again, 27,000 rupees per annum, which translates into $1 a day. So this is the kind of income there. So many of these farmers whom we've initially connected with, I was shocked to see that their annual income was 8,000 rupees, some of them. And now it has reached almost 200 to 300,000 rupees as a result of that impact. So as mandated by the CSR laws in India, we are mandated to conduct impact analysis, and we have done that. But I must thank BIAF, which is Bharat Agro Industries Federation, whose chairman is Mr. Rishikesh Mafatlal, who trained us through the BIAF in all kinds of rural development programs. And currently, we have more than 7,000 farmers who are being trained under this. And this is happening in almost 75 villages across Palghar district. So therefore, we have quite successfully eradicated or improved the levels of economic and helped farmers improve their annual income. Second SDG, as all of you are aware, those who are following the UN SDGs, is zero hunger. So we have been distributing for the last 4 years through Govardhan Anna Kshetra, a field meal distribution, and 1.1 lakh free meals distributed in COVID in the combat of hunger. And in the first wave, we were supported by many, many companies across India, including the Palghar administration. And in the second wave, we were supported by Sewa International. And every year, we are distributing 2 lakh plus free meals. So there are 3 areas in which we distribute these meals. First is, so we believe that all the distribution of food, can I request Madhurima ji to mute herself? So all of these food distribution programs are tied into some kind of education. So first is farmer education or farmer training. So whenever we do farmer training programs, then we do distribution of this prasad. Then secondly, whenever we have women self-help groups and do women's training for both hygiene and women self-help, various things. So there also we do distribution of food. So the women gather together and they take interest, and the overall attendance grows, and we are able to create that impact through education. The third area which we are proposing now, and which we have started in a small way, is distributing free food to students who are in 9, 10th, 11th, and 12th standards. So as all of you know, for some weird reason, the midday meal scheme in India is only from 1st to 8th standard. And it is for around 220 days a year. And currently, ISKCON is distributing in midday meal program all across India, 3 million meals per annum. But under the official midday meal scheme, you are not allowed to distribute beyond the 8th standard. So Govardhan Annakshetra, in tie-up with the CEO of and the district education officer and the collector of Palghar, is distributing free food to 9, 10, and 12 standard students, because one of the greatest dropouts we are seeing is after 8th standard. And it is closely linked to lack of food being distributed after 8th standard. So you'll also have to know that one of the biggest challenges in a place like Palghar is the lady is going through anemia and severe, iron deficiency. And so malnutrition is a big problem. And therefore, we are trying to do that also. Can we have, yeah, thank you. Then third is good health and well-being. So as I just began describing, that one of the biggest challenges amongst ladies is in Palghar district is the severe anemia they go through. And then it transmits to the child, and then this cycle continues. So again, we have been running these camps for last 15 years. Of de-addiction drives. And then finally, we have come up with 4 primary healthcare centers, and we have conducted more than 2,500 health camps.
Namaste. There is some technical glitch at Gaurang Ji's end. He'll be joining soon.
क्या हो गया, कुछ पता करो।
Ji Shyam ji, actually Ashleen is on the call with his PA. There is a heavy rain on his end.
All right.
So we are just coordinating with him if he will be able to join again.
There is a technical glitch, Shyamji.
I just had a call with Gaurang Ji.
He's
He's joining within a second. Please, thank you so much for patience.
Hello.
Gaurangji's team is continuously trying to fix his connection. Till then, let's watch a video about Sewa International and let's know more about Sewa International. Apologies for the inconvenience.
Everyone has hopes, dreams, and wishes for a better world. But at Seva, every day is about recognizing the power of these simple aspirations and working towards fulfilling them. Run by the local people for the betterment of their fellow. Sewa International touches the lives of millions. They also encourage people to work in a unified manner, using naturally available resources to enable people to volunteer wherever they are and in whichever way possible through various initiatives spearheaded by the organization. The work is endless and the opportunities to serve galore. Stretching over the ever-changing vast landscapes of both India and the world, Sewa International has reached out to underprivileged and disaster-affected communities in varying capacities. Dharma. The organization strives to serve humanity by promoting volunteer and civic engagement around the world.
Thank you everyone for your patience. Prabhu ji is here.
Yeah, sorry, the
Prabhu ji,
internet
we can't-
connection collapsed. Yeah, I'll continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Ji, it's perfect.
Yeah. So I was on the third one, which is good health and well-being and primary health centers. As I said, in India, as in our conversations last year with Sewa we, especially during the second wave, it came to the notice that the overall health situation, healthcare condition in India is quite pathetic in terms of the numbers in rural area. Out of 14 lakh doctors, 7 lakh are Ayurvedic and naturopath, and out of 7 lakh were allopathic. Only 1.5 lakh doctors are deployed in for 80 crore rural population. So therefore, even one of the biggest challenges why doctors don't want to come and settle in rural India is because of school education and family. And so one of the most efficient ways in which we felt it could be done is through the telemedicine concept. And I met Dr. Pratap Reddy of Apollo, and they have 3,200 telemedicine centers across India, where, you know, at least the first touch point is provided for the rural population to be able to prevent any kind of major disasters, so that the nearest secondary care hospital they could be taken to. So that is something which we are quite focused on accomplishing over the next 1 or 2 years by having these 7 primary healthcare centers, where we would have, you know, our various rural people only being trained to man this, handle this, so that we can add value in terms of healthcare. So this is as far as good health and well-being is concerned. Then the 4th UN SDG is quality education. So we have, as all of you know, that out of the 27 crore students in the K-12 system in India, we have almost, you know, 88% dropout rate from 12th standard to the first year when you go to college. So almost only 12% go into college after 12th. So there is a major dropout rate, and the reason for that is manifold. But one of the prime reasons is that there is automatic promotion in the schools between 5th standard to first standard to 9th standard. And there is no actual test on whether the person is getting trained or not. So therefore, we have established a very strong rural education wing, where we go to the schools, and we have tied up with NGOs like Agastya Foundation, where more than 9,000 students have benefited, 1,000 sessions conducted, reached 50 schools. But then this was a model we were following for last 10 years, where we were personally going to the schools and training the students and doing mathematics camps, science camps, and other things. But then we realized that we need to go to the next level. So we have collaborated now with Kaivalya Education Foundation, and 21 Gandhi Fellows are being supported by us. And from July 1st in Palghar, 21 Gandhi Fellows, 3 each in 7 talukas will be deployed. And we hope to impact 19,000 school principals and teachers in 2,500 schools of both ashram shalas and Zilla Parishad schools, and 7.5 lakh students. So this is going to be a very major thrust in our forward progress in terms of impacting education. And therefore, I was discussing with the Sewa team also that we are excited with your launch of the Sewa Fellowship, because in future we would be very happy to also host Sewa Fellows in Palghar district and work closely with them. Because as I said, that our model for social impact is based on collaboration, and we provide the platform, and we have excellent ground level connectivity with the people, with the panchayats, in all the different villages across Palghar. So we have been working for last 15 to 18 years. So that networks we use to advantage to bring in, experts and those who are actually experienced in that particular social impact area. Then we also we are running a Bhaktivedanta Research Center, where 8 PhD, 6 masters, and 14 projects and 40,000 plus books in library and museum are there. So we are actually tied up with Mumbai University to offer this MA and PhD program. And for that also, we are now working with Mumbai University to establish MA in Hindu Studies, and our Nachiket ji from IIT Kanpur is also helping us in this. And then we have our own Gurukul, and we saw that there is a systematic program for actually training various communities for IAS, UPSC. So we also started our own UPSC training hub. We tied up with IAS hub in Delhi, and 2 batches of students have gone through. So far, we have not been successful in having anyone pass that, but we feel that ethics-based bureaucrats is going to be a very important need of the hour, and we look forward to any guidance from any of you in this direction also. And then next is with respect to women empowerment. 1 minute. Yeah. So the 5th is gender equality, women empowerment through agriculture, through skills, livelihood training, self-help groups, and women health programs. So if you look at Palghar district, we find that women are very innovative, and many times they are the more reliable people in the family who can actually support the family, take responsibility of the family, and keep the family together. There have been many instances of the husbands, completely devoted to drinking, alcoholism, and other kinds of violence. And it comes on the lady of the house to maintain the entire family. And sometimes the husband takes the money earned by the woman also and uses it for his drinking. So social evils play a major role in destroying the rural fabric. And therefore, one of the main things which we focus on is training the women in cultural values, because if the women are trained in the right cultural values, they transmit it to the children, and then gradually the husbands also get transformed. So through agriculture, through skills like basket making, various kinds of, even now we are training the women in various kinds of agriculture, agro processing, including papads and pickles and other kinds of self-help groups. So this livelihood training, including setting up of small shops, has helped empowering more than 3,000 women, and 12,000 members, family members, have been impacted. Then 6th is water. And as you know that 97.5% of water on the planet is basically salt water. Only 2.5% water is fresh water, out of which 99.7% of the fresh water is in glaciers and underground water. Only 0.3% of the net fresh water on this planet is 0.3% of the 2.5% of the total water is actually the water you see in wells and rivers and lakes and ponds. And although Palghar district gets rainfall of 3,500 millimeters, but there is so much of surface runoff and there is no proper strategy and planning. So situation becomes like Nanded and Marathwada in case the farmers are not given the proper strategy. So therefore, we do that through proper watershed management, and we have established various lift irrigation facilities. What you see in the middle is a Syntex tank, and that is a community water distribution program where a group of 10 to 15 farmers come together. We help set up a centralized distribution program of the water so that the limited water resources can be most optimally utilized by all of them.
Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt you in between. It
Yeah.
would be great if you can share your screen.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, fine. You are able to see now. So, you see these children who are using the hand pump, it appears to be a very simple thing, but actually, unless there is a proper intervention in figuring out where the underground water is, even in villages which get very high rainfall, but in the seasons between March, there is severe water distress experienced. And what to speak of if agriculture is practically the main economic base of Palghar, then you need very solid watershed management. And so we have networked with Waterman of India, Rajendra Ji, and then Aqua Dam, Dr. Himanshu Kulkarni, then Mr. Vishwanath, who takes care of, Arghyam, Nandini Nilekani's NGO. So various water experts have come together and helped us curate some of the best watershed management programs for them. Then we have affordable and clean energy. So what you see is solar, and then what you have is biogas. So, there is a lot of potential for biogas in India, but somehow it has not been utilized to its full potential as it should be for various reasons. And, technically, now we have established a very nice 3,600 kilogram cow dung, which gives 30 cubic meter of biogas at GB. We have a Goshala with over 100 cows. Almost 65 to 70 are Gir cows and 30-35 Tharparkar cows. So there is a lot of potential for this. And what you see below is a bull which is moving around, a simple gear system which is attached to an underground water lifting facility. So through this gear system, the underground water is lifted, and this gear system works when the bull moves. So this is developed by one NGO in Kanpur, and it is known as Animal Driven Prime Mover. So it is known as ADPM. So I must say that it is extremely effective, very cost effective. And one thing which I must confess, which pains us, is that when India got independence in 1947, India had a population of 27 crore and a cow population of 108 crore. Today, India has a population of 130 crore humans and only 9 crore cows. And India has become the largest exporter of cow meat in the whole world. And part of that cow meat is also bull. So if you want to go back to traditional farming, you have to showcase the benefits of bulls. And so if you are connected to cows and bulls only on the basis of milk, then as soon as bull is born, you don't see the relevance because your farming is tractor dependent. But cow dung and cow urine is the most miraculous feed for agriculture. And when the cows walk on the grazing land, so that's why there was Gochar and Bhumi in revenue department in India across the states. And gradually many politicians started utilizing that. They had access to all the information. So a lot of Gochar and Bhumi has been consumed and converted in various ways by people with vested interest. But when the cow dung and cow urine and the gokhur, that means the hooves of the cows, hits upon that soil, a different level of fertility comes. So therefore, through these bulls, we are demonstrating how the bulls can be utilized also in a very productive and effective manner. Then next is decent work and economic growth. Micro enterprises and Govardhan Kaushal Vikas Kendra. So you'll be happy to know that 2 months ago, we have inaugurated the largest skill development center in whole of Maharashtra in NGO sector, and the third largest in India. It is known as Govardhan Skill Center, and it is spread over 70,000 square feet. And here we have specialized areas of skilling. First, in engineering, various skills in engineering, technology, you know, on the shop floor, whatever skills are required. Secondly, we have in agriculture skills. Thirdly, we have in food skills. Fourthly, we have in electric vehicle, various skills. Then for the women, we have various skills for food processing, for various cow products, manufacturing, then skills related to beauty. Then we have tied up with Dr. Vijay Bhatkar and his initiative, which has skilled more than 15 million people in Maharashtra in computer tech skilling. So we are doing the tech skilling program, and Ministry of Tribal Affairs has donated almost 50 computers to enable that tech skilling. And along with Tata Consultancy Service and Rotary Club, we are starting a adult literacy program across Palghar, and we are working closely with you know, the RSS involved there, Mr. Vijender Ji in Palghar district in the Jawar and Mokhada side, in 3 kinds of literacy: functional literacy, digital literacy, and financial literacy. So this literacy program will help people establish their own micro enterprises, because if you do not know basic literacy, basic language skills, basic writing skills, basic adding skills, you know, there is no way you can run your own micro enterprise. So all of these initiatives we are launching, we have already launched now. And especially I would like to invite you to come and see our Govardhan Skill Center. And you know, this is a very exciting initiative which we have embarked upon. Then we have within the 100 acres. So again, let me clarify one small thing. When I talk about many of these social initiatives, we have a 47 acres land which is 1 kilometer away from the Govardhan Ecovillage. So that 47 acres has been reserved for creating various initiatives of social impact. In that 47 acres, first 4 acres we have used for creating the Govardhan Skill Center. In remaining 43 acres, we want to create a school for social impact leadership. And in that school of social impact leadership, we would want to start various training programs for any kind of social fellowships, and also for rural development. For we are going to be having a space where TERI and UNEP would be collaborating with us for sustainability research. And like that, we would be having at least 120 to 130,000 square feet of area for this impact program, which is our dream over the next 2 years. So we are beginning with these Gandhi Fellows here, but as in case the Sewa Fellowship grows, then other social impact fellows come forward. So we would also be providing this facility for running any kind of, you know, fellowship programs for social impact. So that is an area where we have reserved. And apart from that, we would also be running a secondary care hospital and working along with Ayush Ministry to have an integrated healthcare center for rural Maharashtra. So healthcare, livelihood, education, that would be a focus area in this 47 acres, and that would become the hub, and the spoke would be spread around the 7 talukas in Palghar. So therefore, that space is meant for social impact. And then this, what we have established as the Govardhan Ecovillage, is the 100 acres, which is a proper spiritual place where we have created everything with sustainability principles. So this 100 acres, we call it as a place for self-transformation. So therefore, our entire program is just like in ancient India. We had what we call as temple towns, where like Sri Rangam or Varanasi or Vrindavan, where that temple becomes the hub, and around that there is a social impact created. So we call this program social impact through self-transformation, because we firmly believe that if you simply delve at the level of social impact, it is not sustainable sustainable because of the kind of deviant lifestyles which people follow. Unless we provide support in building their character and transforming their habits and changing their attitudes, the social impact will not be sustainable. And therefore, while creating this space for bringing people from the cities and across the world, this is one of the buildings which we have created with mud blocks. And this mud blocks is we have created 400,000 plus CSEB. What is CSEB? It is compressed stabilized earth blocks, which consists of practically 80% of mud, 10 to 12% of grit powder. We have then 7% cement, 2% lime. And together we have created this and trained more than 50 to 70 masons in Palghar district who have on their own built more than 100 to 120 projects in Palghar district. So the interesting thing about this mud block, you see there is no paint and plaster required. So now climate change is a major issue and we need to create buildings which will help mitigate climate change. So if you see the embodied energy in this mud block wall, the embodied energy is only 0.275 megajoules per kilogram as compared to 72 megajoules per kilogram in a regular brick wall with plaster and paint. So huge amount of saving we are making in embodied energy. And then on the right side, you see that tank. It is known as rainwater harvesting tank. Every agricultural land in India under the state government has 10 to 12 lakhs as support for the farmer for creating a rainwater harvesting tank. But all of these schemes are embedded in such complex language that no illiterate farmer can even understand and access this. So therefore, the whole concept of farmer has become a joke in India, where some of the topmost wealthiest people in India, they are in the farmer category. They have a farmer card. Some of the Bollywood actors, politicians, businessmen, corporates, they will all claim we are farmers. And they will get access to many of the schemes. But the actual farmer who is struggling because he is illiterate and has no access. So this is one area which needs to be worked upon. So therefore, this is a model which we have created. Now it is 1.5 crore, but this year we have excavated further with our own CSR funds, and we are going up to 9 crore liter of rainwater harvesting. And you will be happy to know that over the last 10 years, thanks to the groundwater recharge and aquifer recharge, we have been able to increase the groundwater levels by at least 6 meters. And therefore, we firmly believe that this is a very important investment as far as water harvesting is concerned. And then what you see below is known as a soil biotechnology plant. It looks like a garden, but it is an IIT Mumbai patent created by my classmate Dr. Biplav Patnaik and Professor S. Shankar. They hold the patent along with IIT Mumbai for SBT, which is basically a completely green sewage treatment technology consisting of geophagous earthworms, soil bacteria, root bacteria, and it processes almost 4 crore liters of water, of black and gray water every year, and converts it into fish fit water. And this has actually helped us showcase a very unique green technology, very friendly for rural India. Then the 10th SDG is reduced inequalities. And as I said, we have created an ecotourism facility by which people from across the world come, and they come and visit the villages, mix with the villages. And the rural people, see, one of the biggest challenges in India is not just economic benefits. Even if you make the farmer economically wealthy, but if society starts treating farmers as untouchables or below the social acceptance parameters, then the farmer will tell his child, Baba, don't be a farmer, don't stay in village because you will never be socially accepted. So one of the very, very crucial needs is social acceptance. And so this 10th, reduced inequalities, is very important. And that's why we are proposing that just like Govardhan Ecovillage is in one district, there are 748 districts in India. In every district, at least one such project where spirituality, sustainability, and social impact as the foundations can be implemented by different people from across India. They have their own lands. They can create this. And when you create a facility for tourism, people from across the world come and then they mix with the rural folk. They learn from them. And then the rural people also feel a sense of respect. And so this acceptance and respect is very important, and not just helping in, giving some money. So this is very important. And therefore we have so many national and international visitors coming. Then we have Vrindavan replicated with 12 forests and 7 temples, because, recently we had some Hollywood stars also who came and stayed with us, and they would find it very difficult to go and stay in regular Vrindavan, because it's very crowded. So we have curated a facility in such a way that people can come and feel at home. This is the replica of Madan Mohan temple you see on the left. And we have Yamuna Ji, and the ghat you see has been created. So people can come and experience Vrindavan in a very protected ambience. And so it is very good for a lot of young people who may not have natural faith in visiting holy places. And you'll be shocked to know that a country like India with a 130 crore population or 1.3 billion population, pre-COVID in 2019, World Tourism Statistics got only 11 million tourists. Only 11 million tourists for a country with 1.3 billion population. And a country like Northern Ireland with 1 million population gets 5 million tourists with not too many stories to share. The number of stories India has to share, and especially in the spiritual field, is such that, it's a very, very powerful sector which can grow very rapidly and provide tremendous employment, and it does not require too much of skills also. So tourism is a powerful sector for us to focus upon, and especially spiritual tourism. And so if you try to change, unless you have very strong influence, like the way things have happened in Varanasi, it's not so easy to transform existing holy places unless you have strong influence. But you can always create a replica of a holy place. So we have created in 15 acres Vrindavan. Some of you can create in 15 acres Varanasi, or 15 acres of Haridwar, 15 acres of Tirupati Balaji, something like that. And then 12th, we have responsible consumption and production. How do you help people control their habits and transform themselves? So United Nations has also created a wing called Faith for Earth Initiative. And under Faith for Earth, they have established that the only way climate change can be mitigated from now 2022 to 2030 is when faith leaders, the Hindu Pandits and Gurus, the Jewish rabbis, the Christian priests, the Muslim Maulvis, the Sikh Gurus, all of them come together and along with their spiritual discourse also speak about mitigating climate change. And the key area in mitigating climate change is self-control. Unless an individual decides to transform his habits and live within means, because discipline is the fusion between intention and action. And therefore, they have reached out to us. So Govardhan Ecovillage has been established as a Faith for Earth accredited NGO, and I have been appointed as a Faith for Earth Counsellor by United Nations. So UN is a science and data-based organization. It is very interesting. They have now accepted that science and data has its limits in transforming people's habits. And we need religious leaders and spiritual organizations to be partnering with us. Otherwise, people's transformations is not possible. So this is a major statement. from a science and data-based organization. So you can also Google and see the United Nations Faith for Earth initiative, and Dr. Iyad Abdul Moghali, based in UNEP Nairobi. I report to him capacity wearing the hat as a Faith for Earth counselor. So within Hindu tradition, one of the most powerful ways in transforming habits is yoga and Ayurveda. And now we are just about to celebrate International Day of Yoga in a couple of days. Through introspection and reflection, transformation is possible. And therefore, the world needs people to transform themselves, control their mind and senses and habits. And therefore, along with that, we also have our own range of products called Haribol. Haribol, pure food for the soul. So we have milk and groceries and other things which we are helping the farmers sell in cities across the world. Then 13th is climate action. So we facilitate various conferences, flood relief programs, cultural awareness. We had conducted the Nexus event in 2015 where Dr. Kiran Bedi, Radhanath Swami, Ajay Piramalji and Swami Vijnananand were there. And like that, we conduct various seminars, programs and conferences where people come together and we inspire climate change and climate action to happen. So that's a very important element. Then life below water, we help facilitate biofertilizers, biopesticides, because as you know, one of the biggest culprits in polluting groundwater is pesticides and insecticides. And the more rainfall you get, like Palghar with 3000 millimeter plus rainfall, that rainfall drags all the NPK below the soil and mixes with the groundwater. And India is facing one of the biggest nightmares of groundwater pollution. And therefore, if you are going to visit your villages, you may be in your own romantic mood that it's a village and this and that, but be careful with respect to arsenic poisoning and various other types of poisoning which has entered, just because many of the factories, they are also in rural places and they are liberally dumping all their stuff because they are confident there are no close scrutiny happening. So recently we just started an entire Kund restoration program in Barsana and Vrindavan. We are working with Braj Tirth Vikas Parishad because the Kosi river has become a Kosi drain, because all the industries in Kosi are dumping the water and ultimately it is all going to the Yamuna. So therefore, this is a big problem. And so with biopesticides and fertilizers, vermicompost, we are trying to save soil below water. We also have established a program called Plastic-Free Palghar. So one of the big challenges in India is, now some of you are staying in America, so you know that, you know, how in America and in West, you know, waste is not considered a chut, or, you know, like it is something you have to deal with. So segregation at source is the biggest challenge in India, because we have this age-old concept of bhangi and this and that social system, that, you know, waste as a subject is not a very exciting topic of discussion in India. So while running this Ecovillage and hosting thousands of people from the West and thousands of people from India, I have observed very interesting cultural differences, where people from the West get super excited when they see anything related to waste processing. And people from India are kind of quite udasin, or, you know, not so much affected, and they just feel, "Arey, ye to bhangi logon ka kaam hai, ye to apna kaam nahi hai." So this is a very important observation, and therefore we have launched Plastic-Free Palghar, where we are, I mean, that's not on the screen, but we have this pyrolysis plant, and like that we want to establish a process by which we will collect the plastic from different places and then have, you know, send it to a major plastic processing into pyrolysis plant, into plastic into diesel, which is in Navi Mumbai, and transform it. And like that, it will be a model which we will create. And then last two is life on land. We are very proud to share that 52 plus indigenous species of rice and millets are being conserved by us. As you know, rice takes a lot of water. but it is a rice which is newly, germinated, and the new varieties of rice, but the old varieties of rice take less water, and millet is one of the best. And so we are now into climate resilient seed varieties. And during the last monsoon, we have actually established what is known as demonstration plots, where 15 to 20 varieties of rice we took, some of the newer types, some of the ancient types, indigenous types. And on 3 or 4 days of the monsoons, there was severe storm. And in that severe storm, the newer varieties of rice fell, whereas the older varieties, they were resilient and they stood the severe flooding and the storms. So therefore, from all perspectives, this is very important that we go back to our roots and bring out all those varieties which are now becoming extinct. Then we also have tied up with Bombay Natural History Society to create a biodiversity park in the whole Ecovillage. This is a screenshot from the top. 20,000 plus trees, and we are adding 5,000 trees more this year. We have 165 plus species of thousands of butterflies and birds. So Dr. Salim Ali, the famous ornithologist, and his team are running this, Bombay Natural History Society, and they performed a biodiversity survey in 2017-18, and we implemented it from 18. And in the COVID pandemic 20 to 22, I could actually experience, because I was locked down in 100 acres, and I could experience the luxury of seeing 100 times increase in the number of butterflies and birds overall. So in rural places, we could actually inspire the people to plant more trees as per the local varieties and see the impact. And then peace, justice, and strong institutions, happy community, equity for all beings. The community is very important. We allow everybody to come and be part of this community. So we have two aspects of the community. One, we have 300 residents who stay in-house, and plus we have 160 property for tourists to come and stay. And even, some of the most influential people and high net worth individuals can come and stay in 3 bungalows we have. They are very high-end bungalows. So if anybody wants to come and stay of any level of society, they can come. And then the last is partnerships. That is 17th SDG. And all of these different partners are working with us, and we are very happy to share all of this with all of them. So now this is a screenshot of the overall 17 SDGs which we are establishing. And now we are embarking in education, healthcare, and livelihoods. And this we will reserve for any of our future presentations about how we plan to break the intergenerational cycle of poverty. Poverty is the cause of poverty, poverty the result of poverty. From poor household, no food, water, disease, low productivity, no income, low self-esteem, high childbirth, sick elderly, more dependence. So therefore, MBA schools are teaching only the cycle of wealth. So social impact institutions and Sewa fellowships need to be taught and trained in the cycle of poverty and how to mitigate that. And that is a very, very important arena to embark on. And I have shared a small video. So if you can play that.
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Namaskar, Shyam ji. Pranam.
मैं थोड़ा देर से ज्वाइन हुआ, क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ, but then we'll continue with the program and then
Yes.
Just a minute.
So in case you're taking some time, I can take questions.
I was about to say the same.
Yeah, no problem.
Floor open, like anyone want to ask anything?
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt, but I'll just take 30 seconds more. Question answer round would be after the video.
No, actually, I would do the other way. Let me take questions first, so that my other event is already starting. So I'll take
Sure.
I'll exit so you can show the video. And
Okay. Swati ji, over to you.
Yes, Arshlin, I'm there. Namaste, Gaurang ji. Namaste, Shyam ji. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear this wonderful talk, jisme ki you shared so many statistics, data, and the kind of good work you are doing. Your goals are in alignment with the Seva's goals. We are also doing within our capacity. Gaurang ji, I was just going through your quotes, and I will just quote one of them. Like you have said, peace is not the absence of chaos, but the ability to remain calm in the midst of chaos.
बिल्कुल.
So I was very impressed by this because chaos is inherent in society. आप उस chaos को escape नहीं कर सकते हैं. आपका विचार मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा.
हाँ, क्योंकि मैडम भगवत गीता तो कुरुक्षेत्र में सुनाई गई, जहाँ बहुत बड़ा chaos होने वाला था.
हाँ जी. और हाँ जी.
ना अर्जुन कह रहे थे मैं शांति चाहता हूँ. कृष्ण ने कहा भाई युद्ध करो, वही शांति है आपके लिए.
बिल्कुल, वो शांति युद्ध के जरिए अर्जित की जानी थी. एंड लाइक यू आर अ वर्शिपर ऑफ कृष्णा ऑन एन इंडिविजुअल लेवल, आई ऑल्सो एडमायर कृष्णा अलॉट की इतने सारे रूप हैं उनके. कहा यशोदा माँ के साथ कटकट कान्हा बन जाते हैं, माखन चोर गोपियों के साथ रास रचाते हैं, कृष्ण का सखा बन के सारथी बन जाते हैं और वहां गीता का ज्ञान देते हैं. आई विल नॉट टेक एनी मोर टाइम, आई विल जस्ट कम स्ट्रेट टू द क्वेश्चंस. Gaurang ji, many of our audience, they have sent us some questions, so I will merge many questions into one. One very nice question, very interesting question is this: how can a balance be achieved between economic growth and sustainable living? Like we need highways, we need infrastructure, roads and jungles, they need to be cleared for that. How can we strike a balance between these two rather opposite goals, if I may say so?
Yeah, this is very important and interesting. And I just was, hosted by Government of Israel, Ministry of Tourism.
Yes,
they
sir.
took me for a 7-day tour to Israel in month of March. And in the month of September, we are having a Hindu-Jewish dialogue to celebrate the 30 years anniversary of establishing diplomatic relation between India and Israel. So I had gone for recce for that. So they were very specific in showing us that with limited resources which they had, how they have first of all made a master plan on what will be the contours and boundaries of our city, and where the villages will be, and how we need to support cities in a certain fashion and rural sector in another fashion. So I think a lot has to do with master planning. If there is a proper master plan done, both cities and villages and rural areas and forests all can exist. So if I go to New York, I see that right in the midst of New York City, there is a huge chunk of Central Park. So that means even in the midst of a very bustling city, if you want, you can actually maintain a green area.
Yes.
So what, something which really bothers me a lot is, India has really caught up with space technology from the West, nuclear technology from the West, various kinds of IT technology, even, hotel industries like, the common brands from the West are now in India, airlines and this and that and weapons. But when it comes to infrastructure development, India seems to be the only country which has a totally different way of making buildings and planning the roads and creating master plans for infrastructure. So that is a very, very strange phenomena, that why our infrastructure development is quite a, as I कहते हैं ना, हटके है. आप पूरा मिडिल ईस्ट में जाओ, आप यूरोप में जाओ, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जाओ, साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में जाओ, साउथ अफ्रीका में जाओ, यूएस में जाओ, सब जगह एक ही टाइप से वो डेवलप करते हैं, सब जगह एक जैसा लगेगा। बट हम लोग का जो पता नहीं रैंडम सिटीज में किस तरह कहीं पर भी घर बना देते हैं, कोई ऑथराइजेशन नहीं, कुछ नहीं, ये नहीं वो नहीं, और वैसे गांव में भी जो है कुछ प्लानिंग नहीं। सो द स्पोरेडिक अनप्लान्ड वे in which both our cities and villages, and if you just go to Vrindavan, Vrindavan which was a one, मैं तो उसको आजकल वृंदापुर बोलता हूँ।
No longer one.
क्योंकि इतना अभी बिल्डर कम्युनिटी वहाँ हावी हो गया है और बनता चला जा रहा है। So we need a very strong, master planning where yes, certain pockets, smart cities can be developed. And certain pockets, the villages can be allowed to maintain their rural, DNA. But at the same time, rural does not mean unclean, haphazard, chaotic. You could still have very clean, nice, proper facilities, but it should be in the rural space. So I think that it's very important for India to delve in this direction. And I feel very disappointed when I see now, of course, I feel very nice to hear about the highway project and some of the pockets, but still I would say that the way sophisticated infrastructure is developed in India is still in pockets. It is still in pockets. Chandigarh was developed as a beautiful master planned city way back in, 60s and 70s. Why that model could not be followed in other places?
By Le Corbusier.
Yeah, so why it could not be followed and why everybody has to do their own thing?
Like we keep on reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, so I think a lot of, overall systemic changes need to be made. And I also feel that there needs to be a deep rethink on the way political systems run and the center state, dynamics. At the end of the day, the conflicts between center and state hit the common man.
Absolutely.
And somehow when I see, and also, it is high time that lateral entry is encouraged in India. Because when the president in the United States comes to the White House, 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 professionals move in Washington to support the administration. They're all experts in their areas. And somehow in India, we have this culture that practically everybody is obsessed with who will win the election. But there is not much focus on what is the performance of those who are elected and what is the impact. So people are always demanding from NGOs, what is your impact report? So can anybody ask the elected representatives also to share, impact reports? And are those also considered? So, practically national elections, then state elections, another state election. So media is always creating a hype around winning of election. And it has become like a drama. But the basic ground level work, which is not exciting, but which is very crucial, like education, healthcare, livelihoods, usme kuch dramatic nahi hai.
Right, sir.
So roll up the sleeves, go to the ground and start working. It requires diligence, it requires resilience, it requires, compassion to go down at the last mile and work. So that culture needs to be highlighted. And such heroes need to be promoted in the media more than just the shrill shouts about and debates about all kinds of things, which really is not going to make such a huge difference at the end. So even the journalism has to have a cultural change where just TRP based or viewership based and views based journalism is only going to take the country and lead the common people in the wrong direction and create the wrong values as far as inspiration is concerned. So these are some of my thoughts.
So basically, sir, you are saying we should have respect for nature while making the master plan itself.
Absolutely important.
And you also, Prabhuji, used the word resilience. And I remember you have written 2 books. One is The Art of Resilience and The Art of Focus.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think resilience and focus, both the things are very much needed at this point of time.
Absolutely. अब 2 साल के पैंडेमिक के बाद तो कौन मना कर सकता है कि
Can I ask one more question, please, Prabhuji, if you have time?
Yes, please. Yes, please, Swati ji.
I think this question is also in alignment with our Sewa International's goal. Incidentally, I would like to take 1 minute of yours in telling you that I have 2 points of convergence with you. I stay in Bombay, actually in New Bombay, where your pyrolysis plant is also, you said, is located. And I have visited IIT Bombay, where you come from, because my elder son is passed out of IIT Bombay. It's a beautiful campus.
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of eating food there a couple of times.
Wonderful.
And sir, where you parted company with most of the people is that when people prepare for placements and like getting a 5-figure or 6-figure salary, you trod a different path. There I find a little comparison between you and Gautam Buddha. You qualified to get a very he had all the materialistic pleasures in the world, but he renounced those to do good for the society. So my next question is, Prabhuji, how can we inculcate Seva Bhav in today's smart generation? When I say smart generation, I mean those glued to smartphones, smart TV, computers and all. Like I would say gadgets are smart, but people are not, because they got their priorities wrong. How can we inculcate Seva Bhav in the upcoming generations?
Yes. So Swati ji, I think you have raised a very important point.
Yes, sir.
Every generation has its own, priorities, challenges. So in my generation, when I passed out from college in 93, 89 to 93. So in that generation, getting employment, getting a house and, establishing yourself in society and supporting the family, that's a very important element. And therefore, for my generation, economic development for personal needs and family needs itself was a major challenge, and it was considered a major accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Like in Abhi, when my generation, my classmates and others, they have their kids. So all of my generation are very well established economically, those who were with me and all that. So when their kids are growing up in silver spoon, so then they are seeing, "Arey bhai, hamare liye kya challenge hai?" So most of this generation, they are quite, they are quite risk taking, and therefore we see a startup generation is in a big way. So in my time, I could not imagine, at the end of BTech, someone says, "Would you want to start a startup?" तो मैं बोला, यार हमको तो भाई एक नौकरी का ही मिल जाए तो अपन उसमें खुश थे. Lekin this generation is all into startups and this and that. So therefore, I would say that this generation should be encouraged to engage in creating wealth and spending that wealth through the Artha philosophy. What is Artha philosophy? Artha means prosperity and Dhan means wealth. So there is a difference between wealth and prosperity. So when wealth is used for sharing with others to eradicate problems which society is facing, then that dhan becomes artha. So therefore Krishna glorified the trees of Braj, and he said, "Paschadetan mahabhagan parasaikant jivitan vat varsha atapahiman sahanto varayantina." That Pashat, just see these trees in Vrindavan, that they are completely dedicating themselves for serving others. They are going through difficulty themselves, but protecting others. So this should be the success of one's life. So Krishna says that etavat janma safalyam. This is the success in life. Dehinam iha dehishu praner arther dhyavacha shreya. You try to serve others by offering 4 things. Prana, your life. Artha, your wealth. Dhya, your intelligence. And vacha, with your words. So the modern generation can be encouraged and inspired to offer these 4 things in seva, in service. And how can they be inspired to do that? Number 1, as I call it, the ABCD formula. A for association. So through association is what Seva Fellowship is providing. Association of leaders in social impact space, association of peers, because the There will be a cohort of 30 to 70 people in the Sewa fellow batches. And then association of those whom they are supposed to impact. So A for association. So that helps transform values, creates, because even if I remember, what I remember from IIT most is my hostel mates and my comrades more than the professors. So they have the maximum impact. And even today, our relationships are more based on the hostel we were in, with whom we spend maximum time.
Ekdam such.
So A for association, B for books. Books basically means instruction, training, manual, so this training which you will be embarking upon for the Sewa people is very important. And I would say that you should really look upon branching out this Sewa fellowship across different locations in India and in various languages, because although English and Hindi may be the majority language, but India is a very diverse country, and therefore we need to have various languages in which this is imparted. And then this is the second, B for book. C for contemplation. Contemplation is very important because social impact requires a person having the resilience to be able to face real gross problems in society. And many times the Sewa fellows or the other social impact fellows may be coming from very protected cocoon backgrounds where they have not actually seen gross realities, at the last mile in India. So they need some mental strength. So that mental strength can be enabled through meditation, through contemplation, through any spiritual practice. And I strongly believe that this is a very important area, and ISKCON has been at the forefront of this for last several years. And we really feel that this is very important for individuals to enable in their own lives. And there's C for contemplation and D for diet. And that is also very important, that jaisa ann vaisa man. And to the extent our diet is, properly modulated, to the extent our mind is peaceful and calm. And with that calm and peaceful mind, we are able to contemplate and enable the proper impact activities. So these are some of the ways in which the service attitude can be grown, because, if I must say that when I talk about diet, if I follow an animal-based diet, so that animal-based diet comes at the cost of killing an animal. So if I'm killing an animal, so that means I'm unleashing cruelty. So if I'm regularly eating products of cruelty, and then I say that I want to show compassion to others, then there is a disconnect somewhere in that alignment.
Absolutely.
So these are some of the thoughts which I wanted to share.
जैसा अन्न वैसा मन, जैसा पानी वैसी बानी. आपने बिल्कुल सही बोला. हाँ. Arshlin, do we have time to take one more question, or you want to run the video? गौरंग जी, आप बताइए. प्रभु जी.
नरेंद्र जी का हाथ उठा हुआ है काफी समय से, नरेंद्र कुमार जी, उनका एक लास्ट ले लेते हैं, और मेरे अगले ऑर्गेनाइजर मेरे पीछे खड़े हुए हैं.
नरेंद्र जी, please go ahead, ask your question.
Okay, so I think he's not there. So thank you very much, our team of Sewa, Swati ji, Priyanka ji, and Shyam Parande ji, and Abhishek ji and others for inviting me. And we hope to connect further. And thank you very much for supporting the initiatives at Palghar. And we look forward to working together on many more initiatives in future. We have been, more focused on spiritual for many years, but now I am now at the governing body commissioner of ISKCON. So my generation of leaders in ISKCON want to take ISKCON also into the social impact area, and so Sewa being a forerunner in this area, I consider all of you as our gurus. So please guide us in this social impact arena and let us work together and create and transform India more and more. Thank you very much.
We thank you, Prabhuji, on behalf of audience.
We need to thank you because it was a great learning and very illuminating talk. And because the way you presented SDGs, how to connect SDGs, what we are doing is important. We talk of all the cultural things and that SDGs are close to our culture, but unless and until we change our lives to live like our dada dadis and nana nanis or great grandfathers and grandmothers, we are not going to achieve that. So this is a way that you have opened for the larger good, and we appreciate that. Connecting, we will be always with you. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you so much. Pranam.
Thank you everyone for joining. I'm ending the